So, coaches, you've been given the opportunity to be exposed to my manuscript, volume one of the three-part or legacy trilogy. I'm looking forward to your general feedback. We'll get into specific editing feedback shortly, but just keep it general, and I'll also bring up to date with my latest iteration, which just keeps getting better and better. But I wish I'd stop with my brain because I wanted to get onto volume two, and I'm still fine-tuning volume one. Okay, so who wants to kick off with some feedback so far? Like, were your first thoughts when you opened the manuscript, et cetera, et cetera?
The first source is massive, massive content. So it's a lot of more content than the Legacy One book. So that in itself is very good because people might think, well, is there anything new? Well, there is a lot of new things. So yeah, that's great. Really great. That's my general comment. I'm currently, reading. I think I've read now like the first 50
Yeah,
pages.
I appreciate that. So, I'll talk about my strategy shortly, but there'll be value for money. Anybody who wants value for money is going to get bowled over. Any other feedback from a first impression, general sense?
Yeah, mine was the size of it. It was way bigger than I was expecting when I thought it was going to be like bite sized, and it is bite sized, but it's so many topics and so many subjects. That was my initial uh, reaction when I first opened the document. Just reading the index was it took me a while to get through the index. It's going to be anybody that gets that is going to be blown away with the level that it goes to. That was my thoughts.
And that's just volume one. So volume one's heading up towards 300 pages. I'll tell you that now. It's somewhere between 250 and 300. Um, and there'll be, 100 and something theories in it. So that's just volume one. Uh, and there are criteria to be in there. It needs to be original, and it needs to be something that I've said over and over again, or published over and over again. It just can't be a one-off. Um, so there is some criteria to making that list. I hope every person who opens this book moving forwards will reach that same conclusion because it's been a mammoth task just to get this far. As I said, I've nearly completed the fourth draft of the first volume. But yeah, it should be mind-blowing for anybody who opens that index list. So I appreciate that, Jimmy.
Yeah, it was so much content that I didn't even know how to give any feedback. I was like, okay, I probably need to sit down and review. I thought it could have been one of those like, okay, I'm just gonna scroll through it and see what happens. But yeah, just so much. But I do one thing that I noted was just the evolution of how you have written, and it's your works. Because why I say that is, if you guys remember the older texts like foundations, and if you guys remember the text like, do you want to become a physical preparation coach, you can see the structure of how things are and the sequence. Because I remember you saying multiple times that as things change, you will change. So when I looked at the way that you prioritize, like even like part two is already injury prevention, as compared to, I remember foundations back in the day, it was more of the performance enhancement stuff first. So it just dawned onto me that yeah, how things have changed over the years, and it's only come from when you have done so much study uh and improvements. So just thank you for all the efforts, and just it's going to be a huge project.
Yeah, absolutely. So over 45 years now, I've repeated myself, and found ways to improve, and that's what you'll see. The index list is now 12 parts, not 10. The one you saw wanted in 10 is now at 12 parts. So hopefully it won't go any further. And I've added substantially more. But yes, the evolution is quite simple. But having said that, there's always should be a common theme. If I've always said that I do not flip flop. I'll fine tune, and if obviously I was off track, I'll put my hand up. And as for example, I was off track with my predictions about the acceptance of flexibility. And you'll see in this edition, I was very honest about it. I say, listen, some time ago, around 2010, I said, okay, I'm going to stop predicting because I actually said I don't think it's going to happen in my lifetime. Um, so yeah, in the evolution of the dysfunctional model, for example, you see my first variation published in around 2003, then the next one published 15 years later in 2018. I've been at this stuff for a long time, thinking about it, applying it. And I only published in the first place after the prior decade of, application, or prior 2 decades of application in 2003, and serious contemplation. So it's very personal. It's a lot of, like, 45 years of thought, effort, application, high volume application. Not just I had a smart idea one day and I just ran with it, or I read it in someone else's book or something, and then I thought I'd publish it. These are all original thoughts that have been crafted out of the coalface of asking and answering the question, what is the best way to train? And the genuine responsibility of this athlete's life is in my hands, literally and figuratively. And I want to give them a long, fruitful career and a healthy and satisfactory second stage of their life. So yeah, it's a lot in it, and this is just the first volume. So I appreciate it, Victor. If everyone has shared their piece, we'll wrap it at that and get into the specifics of the detail and with the editing.